Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with best hair, and welcome to week whatever of... And things have been crazy, so why break that trend? Let's take a look at Mandy. Released in 2018, Mandy is, weird. It's a psychological horror mystery thing. Lots of artistic flair and, stuff. Okay, let me level with you guys. I watched this thing front to back, and I still don't really have any idea what in the hell it even really was. I mean, it's not just random stuff. It has a plot, and a relatively easy one to follow at that. Nicolas Cage stars as Red, who is in a relationship with a lady named Mandy. One thing leads to another, and next thing you know, the body count rises. With tons of establishing shots and musical references and stuff. So, let's take a look at Mandy and see if a second time around I can understand it slightly better than that. Our story opens at a lumber yard. Nicolas Cage fells a tree, gets to the chopper, and heads home to Mandy, played by Andrea Riseborough, who is in the middle of her latest piece.
What are you drawing?
It's kind of like, jungle temple.
Of course, her art is insanely good, but it's just a hobby. She works as a clerk. It's time to establish some character traits, so that night we watch them talk about their favorite planets. Mandy likes Jupiter. It's got a big damn storm raging on it. Red's more of a Saturn guy.
Saturn's pretty cool. And that was one of the first ones that we discovered, that humans discovered, so there's like a lot of cool ancient myths about it and stuff.
Honestly, I just like the Sega console named after it. So yeah, they're a couple, sleeping through the night, hanging out on Crystal Lake. Yeah, it is confirmed later, that is Crystal Lake. And having weird artistic skinny dipping and staring contest sexual overtones. But wait, Mandy hears weird noises the next day, and, heading out into the woods alone, finds a dead-ass fawn. Which I can't really confirm if it's real or not, so I'm just gonna say it looks really rough with the exposed guts and everything. Oh, but she has feelings. It's good to know. It's hard to establish. You need to show the audience a close-up of a dead animal's corpse to really drive home the point that people have emotions.
Are you awake?
Yeah, baby. What is it?
You were having a bad dream.
Oh, so it was all just a dream! Something you probably have already noticed by now, this ain't exactly the most fast-paced intro to a movie. Of course, it's not trying to be. That's not the movie we're watching. It's an artsy-fartsy flick that feels the need to spend as long as possible to get us invested in the world and characters.
Did I ever tell you about the starlings when I was a little kid?
So please, sit back and enjoy another random information dump that does fuck all to establish any plot points, but hey, you get to know the characters better. Long story short, the neighborhood she grew up in had all these cute birds, but those fucking birds always ate her dad's cherries, so he gathered up all the little baby birds in a burlap sack and showed Mandy and her friends how to crush them to death with a crowbar. But Mandy just ran away from her turn. The end. Moving on, she reads a lovely, lovely novel before taking a stroll on a very red road. But then, a van approaches. And they see each other. Really not much else to say about the scene other than the fact that the movie decided it needed a good minute and a half to establish that. These would be the Children of the New Dawn, a lovely, lovely cult led by Jeremiah, played by Linus Roach. He's currently berating Mother Marlene, played by Alwyn Foray. Seems old Jerry here has a hankering for some of that mystery woman he saw on the road, but the last person who can help him with that is the useless-ass Marlene.
Be quiet and go fetch me Brother Swan.
Okay.
Marlene, next time just... She retrieves Brother Swan, played by Ned Dennehy, whom Jeremiah tells he needs that woman. Swan's all for the idea. He's even got the lava rock ocarina thing.
Do you know what to do?
I do.
mind letting us in on it?
Why don't we offer up the porker to them? Just to seal the deal.
You know what? Never mind. Let's just move on and never speak of this again. Following this, he asks him to send in Sister Lucy, played by Line Play. And if the movie didn't feel the need to give us a long, drawn-out showcase of exactly what the fuck that was about, I really don't want to know. Back with Mandy, though, she's working on that register at the convenience store when who would happen to be her customer but Mother Marlene?
I guess you live around here.
Yeah, we live just down near Crystal Lake.
Okay, number one, that's one way to find out where your target lives. Go up and ask him. Number two, don't fucking tell every random person that comes up asking you where you live. It's like, oh yeah, that one right down the street, the one with the gazebo in the yard. Yeah, the gate's locked, but don't worry, there's a hide key under the gnome. Marlene gives her an ominous, see you later, and leaves. That way we can see exactly what Swan is up to, along with Brother Hanker, played by Alexis Julimont. So it's kind of like, come on, evil monsters, come on, gotta kill stuff.
What now? Now we wait.
Oh, don't tell me that. This movie so far has been nothing but long establishing shots and slow, agonizing exposition. And they're literally making us wait. You know, I think for the first time ever, the suspense is literally killing me. Eventually, we find out what they're waiting for. That whistle was to call a super evil gang of super evil monster biker monster men thingamajigs. I think somewhere between Hell's Angels and Hellraiser, and you got the idea. Swan gives them a mason jar of mysterious substance, and they drink deep, saying blood for blood. However,
First things first.
Nicolas Cage has already moved on from this film to a fun classic B-movie, establishing further the calm, simple life of Red and Mandy living out on Crystal Lake. The nights might be a little spooky sometimes, but they're calm. Except for tonight, that is, for their house is attacked by the psychotic biker gang. Red is knocked out, miscellaneous overweight character is sacrificed, and Mandy is kidnapped.
I guess you're wondering where your hubby is. Don't you worry, he's just fine.
I mean, he's chained up, bleeding, gagged, generally in rough shape, but he is Nicolas Cage. He's been through worse. The idea is that he's only going to stay fine as long as Mandy does exactly what they say. Of course, they haven't actually asked her to do anything yet. I guess we just really need to establish that these are, in fact, bad guys. After all, the kidnapping, the sacrifice, being a fucking cult weren't big enough hints. It's not like they go for much consent here anyway, forcing eye drops on her before injecting her with weird giant mutant bug stinger stings.
I like to call that the cherry on top.
Why? Was horrifying mutant wasp venom taken? This causes Mandy to start tripping balls, right in time for her meeting with the one, the only, Jeremiah Sand. This meeting goes about as well as can be expected. He explains that he saw her on the road and that settled it. She was calling him. Never mind, she never did. He heard it, and that's what matters. Now she's part of his family and can enjoy all that he has to offer. His music.
Every seed that gives us life, every man must take a wife.
Just severely lacking in the bass department, just saying. And if that's not impressive enough, he's gonna give her his penis. That is the penis right there. He just whipped it out right there in front of her like, yep, it's a penis. Penis. Mandy responds the only way a woman can, laughing at how pathetic Jeremiah is in most every regard. Unfortunately, though, cult leaders are not known for taking criticism very well, and he's got a special revenge planned for this insult. Something to do with Mandy and Red.
You think you're so in love?
Well, they were living together quite happily before you showed up, all murdering people and getting high and playing musical foreskin.
I'll show you love.
Dude, if it didn't work with Mandy, I doubt Nicolas Cage is gonna bite. Oh, well, maybe.
Neil.
Oh, Jesus, man, I already had to edit around enough of this. What the hell are you doing? Oh, wait, it's perfectly fine. Jeremiah is just showing how devoted his followers are by forcing Lucy to play a happy game of Russian roulette for him. Fortunately for her, one she manages to come out of. Oh well, let's just stab Red before dragging Mandy out in front of him and burning her alive while Red is forced to watch. Hey, I heard you like Burning Man, so we're burning it. Oh, wait, no, I already did that bit. Oh, well, after a relaxing night of human sacrifice, the cult sees well that Nicolas Cage is still alive, but decides to just leave him there to die, assuming it all goes to plan. However, he breaks free of his binds and rushes to see Mandy is indeed a pile of ash. I guess the next order of business is to call the police. Or get a power nap. Woke up really early yesterday, remember? Dreaming of, animated naked zombie women, Red awakens to a lovely mental breakdown. This is one of the reasons I'm having such a hard time with this movie. I mean, is it slow? Certainly, but you can't tell me that this isn't a brilliant display of anguish. Which also explains why he isn't going for the not even established to exist police for help with this. This is a personal matter, and therefore he heads to his personal friend, who we are also just establishing exists right now, Caruthers, played by Bill Duke. He's been keeping a hold of a few weapons for Red, but hearing his tale of weird damn demon bikers, Jesus freaks, and murder, Caruthers believes he knows who did it. The Black Skulls. Seems you just can't have a questionably supernatural, definitely evil biker gang in these parts without some people noticing. Especially when it results in several of the locals being killed. The source of their inhuman powers, you ask?
There's stories that there was a chapter that ran courier for a manufacturer of LSD.
Long story short, they're doing drugs! So that's it. Nicolas Cage has to wage a one-man war with a psychotic cult and an insane biker gang drugged out of their minds. Only one thing to do: forge a battle axe to use against them. Hey, we finally reached the title. An hour and 15 minutes in, the fuck? This is where the movie shifts, though, away from long establishing shots to try and express exactly how people are feeling, and instead into long establishing shots trying to express exactly how people are feeling getting shot with crossbows! But as Nicolas Cage moves in to run Pinbutt down, he says, "No! Nothing shall be over and done with quickly in this movie! Nothing, I say!" So, after a brief break for another dream about naked zombie women, Red awakens to find himself captured. Again! They have nailed him to the floor. But fortunately, the plumbing in this place has seen better days. They do suspect something, but lest we forget, Nicolas Cage is a phenomenal actor.
You're a vicious snowflake.
And the body count rises. Now able to free himself from his binds, Red must arm himself for the task ahead, recovering his lost equipment. Sneaking around the house with a rusty box cutter in hand, he finds dead people. What do you know? The demon bikers didn't actually pay rent here. But what do they do? Drugs, of course. And something with a long, poorly lit blade, and watching porn. I'm gonna have to edit around that. Like, keep watching the same 5 seconds on a loop on that TV. It's like that's the only real media clip they could find. Never mind the icky sex stuff. It's murder time! Cage and the biker battle it out until Red stabs his neck, getting blood all over his face. But what's this? The first drugged out demon biker is still alive! Never mind. Oh well, nothing left to do but drugs, I guess. Cage snorts the coke, finds his axe, but then finds that little mason jar of super LSD the gang is hooked on. So... just in case you thought everything up to this point was a little too down to earth, don't worry, he's gonna be tripping balls from here on out. High as a kite and armed to the teeth, Red sets his sight on his next target. firing and connecting. But just because he shot the guy through the neck doesn't mean he gives a fuck. That way they can do battle. Axe-wielding maniac versus knife-wielding maniac. Cage is beating his ass pretty well as a result, but the Black Skull is still capable of psychological attacks. And how exactly is that possible? I mean, what, do they spread her ashes in a sriracha factory? But he's burning now, and decapitated for good measure. But just killing badass Black Skull biker bastards, while fun, isn't going to get Red that revenge he wants, so he heads down to meet up with that drug-dealing chemist who invented the super LSD, played by none other than Richard Brake, who, believe it or not, is not evil in this movie.
Jovan warrior sent forth from the eye of the storm.
Narrowing down his character traits to crazy. Cage doesn't say a word, but the chemist recognizes that he has been wronged, and he needs to know the location of those he seeks vengeance upon. Easy enough, north, thus riding into the night. Red somehow manages to get his ATV stuck in the mud. One of the main things those machines are designed to be able to navigate. Now, while he's managed to find some of the cultists, leaving caltrops for their car, he gets the jump on Brother Swan, easily killing the man. But sparing Sister Lucy, which is kind of surprising considering he's gone full slasher villain mode. But lest we forget, she was the one and only cult member who didn't revel in glory at the death of Mandy before her. She just sat there and cried and looked perpetually terrified the entire time, so... Next to go is Brother Hanker, easily felled with an axe throw. Man, these cultists don't put up nearly as much of a fight as the biker gang. Well, there's still Brother Klopek, played by Clement Baronet. Sneaking up on him with a chainsaw isn't the easiest task, what with the fact that Red's chainsaw is having more than a little trouble starting. Thus, Klopek spots him soon enough and... This guy's motherfucking chainsaw is 4 times as big and more than ready to go. But Red isn't going to give up that easy. You know the joke. It's not the size that counts, it's how you use it. Red slips in and slashes his side, and they flail about at each other so much that both of them lose their chainsaws. But that just means the baddie can get Red's chainsaw, and Red, well, he can chain the cultist around the neck and yank him down right on his own super long chainsaw. Whew. Pardon me, but I think I need a breather after that. Or a cigarette. Now that that's over with, it's time for Red to go forth in the lair of the cultists. Not many of them left at this point, so of course the first one he encounters is the much lower-ranking Mother Marlene, who tries to pacify him with offerings of something other than wanton murder.
Waves licking the rocky hard shore.
Ah, she's offering him head. And he takes that head and gives it to Jeremiah. Leading to our final showdown, Red versus Jeremiah Sand, who of course is not a secret cyborg ninja master or Super Saiyan. Best he can do is pretend to be some holy chosen sumbitch before breaking down crying and begging for mercy.
I'll blow you, man. I'll suck your fucking dick.
Okay, could everyone stop trying to suck Nicolas Cage's cock for a minute and get on with the story? Jeremiah pretty much continues like this, jumping between demanding worship and begging for mercy, before Red just says fuck it and crushes his head with his big manly hands of head crushing. Then, lighting the place ablaze, he leaves. Therefore, happy ending! Everyone is dead, every last one of them, and the place is destroyed. The town itself pretty fucked up, and Nicolas Cage can ride off into the night, hallucinating in his drugged-out hysteria that Mandy is right beside him even now. I absolutely, 100% totally understood that. Alright, so, anyway, that was Mandy. What the fuck? Well, that was an experience. I guess you'd call it a very, very simple horror revenge plot, done in the most extreme artistic way you possibly could, while still being able to recognize the genre at the end of the day. That makes Mandy kind of a hard movie for me to rate. Like, I get what they were going for. Yeah, it's paced very slow. It's supposed to be. Yes, they use a lot of reds. They wanted to do that. And yeah, the main character's descent into madness is kinda weird and crazy. This was obviously intentional. To be brutally honest, this movie just isn't for me. I mean, there are definitely parts I liked. The entire climax was very entertaining for me, but how long it took to get there? I feel like this movie didn't need to be 2 hours long. Hell, it didn't need to be 90 minutes. The plot can be just as deep and over and done with in 25. But while I wasn't on board for the slow pace, that doesn't mean it was done badly. The angles, acting, music, everything was done with a purpose. Plenty of intention to evoke emotion out of the audience, and done very well. Nothing about the execution, I think, was flubbed. I'm just a critic here, examining the movie and trying to think of what it's saying, how it's saying it, and how to put it all together in a video to explain that to everyone, but Mandy, I found myself waiting for the next point to be made, only to realize that the movie has another 5 minutes of trying to freak me out to go before it got there. To make a long story short, Mandy ain't for everyone. I dare say it's not for the average moviegoer, and certainly not for the average fan of horror. The pacing is glacial, the story is bare bones, and the world isn't particularly interesting. If you're into artistic flair, though, the acting is phenomenal, the cinematography is on point, and the way the story leans into the surreal is incredibly memorable, coming in at 4 jars of super LSD out of 5. Now to go with my 2 out of 5 I love it mug idea, I'm going to have to pair that with 4 out of 5. It's okay. Thank you all for watching. I've been Shado. And remember, not every one of us will get the chance to try and suck Nicolas Cage's dick, but if you do get the opportunity, that doesn't mean you have to go for it.